If you stripped away everything modern from your life, your phone, your schedule, your job, your deadlines, what would a human life naturally look like? Not the life we've built, but the life we were shaped for over hundreds of thousands of years. Right now, somewhere in northern Tanzania, a man sits quietly in the shade. His work is already done. No rush, no pressure, no messages waiting, no tomorrow already overloaded. Just silence and time. He belongs to one of the last hunter-gatherer groups on Earth, the Hadza, people who still live in a way that closely resembles how humans lived for almost 300,000 years. And when you observe their lives carefully, a strange question begins to form. Did modern life actually make us free, or simply permanently busy? Because here, something immediately stands out. People often work only a few hours a day, sometimes just 2 to 3 hours, hunting, gathering, cooking, and doing only what is necessary to survive. And by modern standards, their entire workday is finished before noon. No alarms forcing them awake, no schedules dividing their day into blocks, no bosses measuring productivity, no race against time. Yet, despite none of the systems we associate with progress, they also show something unexpected. Lower levels of chronic illness, stronger emotional bonds, and a level of daily social connection that researchers often describe as far more present and expressive than what many modern people experience in an entire week. So what does life actually look like when survival replaces occupation? To understand that, we turn to anthropologist Richard Lee, who studied the Kung people of the Kalahari Desert. After years of observation, his findings challenged almost everything assumed about hard life in the past. On average, they worked only about 15 hours per week. Not per day, per week. The rest of the time was not spent rushing or striving, but simply living. Their ancestors didn't have weekends because every day already carried a similar rhythm of effort, rest, and social life. There were no offices, no rent cycles, no schedules dividing life into obligations, only sunrise and survival. And life begins slowly. The sky brightens gradually. The camp wakes naturally with light instead of alarms. People rise from simple sleeping spaces made of grass and animal hides, carrying only what they truly need to survive and move: a bow, a digging stick, a few tools, some personal items. Everything they own can be carried at once. A typical camp consists of around 25 to 30 people. Everyone knows everyone. There are no strangers in the modern sense. Children grow up beside grandparents, cousins, and lifelong companions. Life is not divided into neighbors and strangers. It is one continuous social world. And the day begins the same way it has for thousands of years, with conversation. But this is not idle talk. It is the coordination system of the entire society. Who is sick? Who is hungry? Who is upset? Who contributed? Who didn't? Who needs support? Who created tension? Everything matters. Everything is remembered. And when someone behaves selfishly, punishment does not come from authority. It comes from humor, teasing, and social pressure. And if that is not enough, something simple happens. People slowly stop including you. In a world without prisons or police, exclusion becomes the strongest form of control. Anthropologist Richard Lee once experienced this directly. He brought a large ox to a community as a gift. He expected appreciation. Instead, he was met with laughter. The animal was too small. The meat would not be enough. The gift was poorly chosen. He was confused until he asked why. The answer revealed something deeper. No one is allowed to rise too far above others. Even success must be balanced, because equality here is not a belief. It is a survival system. By mid-morning, men prepare for hunting. But hunting is never predictable. Most attempts fail. Long tracking, careful silence, hours of walking through difficult terrain, and often nothing. But when success does come, it is intense and meaningful. Poison-tipped arrows, careful pursuit, animals followed for hours until the poison takes effect. Sometimes antelope, sometimes larger game. But here's the surprising truth. Hunting is not the main source of food. That role belongs largely to women. They provide more than half of daily calories through gathering roots, fruits, and plants, stable food sources that do not depend on luck or chance. While men take risks in hunting, women sustain daily survival, and often older women are among the most effective gatherers, continuing to contribute well into their later years. This supports what anthropologists call the grandmother hypothesis, the idea that human life after reproduction exists for only one reason: to help the next generation survive. Children grow up inside the system from the very beginning. At 6 years old, they can gather food on their own. At 10, they already contribute meaningfully. There is no formal schooling, no classrooms. Learning happens through observation, imitation, and participation in daily life. As anthropologist David Lancy observed, this is how most of human history raised children. At midday, food returns to the camp, and nothing is privately owned. Everything is shared immediately. A large animal is divided among everyone, not kept by the hunter. Even the hunter receives only a small portion. And this creates a powerful, invisible system, a society built on contribution rather than accumulation, on sharing rather than ownership. As the heat increases, activity slows. People rest in the shade, repair tools, sit together, talk, or simply remain silent. Even grooming, removing insects from each other's hair, becomes a form of bonding. Conflict still exists, but it rarely escalates. If tensions rise too much, people simply move to another camp. No arguments, no punishment, no enforcement, just separation. Later in the day, people travel between camps, visiting relatives and maintaining social ties that stretch across wide networks. By adulthood, individuals often know dozens, sometimes over 100 people personally. At sunset, hunters return, some days successful, many days empty-handed. But survival is never dependent on one outcome, because gathering ensures stability no matter what happens. And at night, food is cooked and shared once again, as it has been for hundreds of thousands of years. This is not a perfect world. There is illness, loss, conflict, pain. But there is something noticeably absent: the constant psychological weight of modern life, the feeling of working endlessly without a rival, of time being divided, measured, and controlled, of life becoming something you chase instead of experience. Anthropologists once described early humans as living in the original affluent society, not because they had more wealth, but because they had more time. Modern civilization gave us medicine, technology, and longer lives, but it also reshaped human rhythm itself. And yet, underneath everything, one thing has not changed. We still need sunlight. We still need rest. We still need connection. We still need time that belongs to us. In many ways, we never stopped being hunter-gatherers. We just stopped living like one.